welcome back to BSLIVE. Today I want to show you the whole process on how you can create some kind of art based on a 3D scan. I think I've done this a couple of times, but then every time I saw a new objects on the street, I thought, okay, this is gonna be like new art. So this is just a chair, like an old chair that I found. As I think someone just trashed it on the street. So I just decided, okay, I'm gonna turn this into an art. My art is a little bit basic, however, but anyway, I just casually, I use video, it's 4K video on the iPhone. I just go around the chair. Okay, the chair is actually wet, but it's still kind of, the scanning program actually captured that. So 4K video is, I think it's pretty good. You can, if you can go higher, like take photo like 12 megapixel and just go around the chair. And all I did is just to use the Photo Catch app, and this app will turn it into 3D. So that's the first thing to know. So it's gonna output like a USDZ. USDZ is an open source format. You just basically turn this USDZ into zip. Just change the name and then just unzip it, and you're gonna get USDZ and all the texture. Okay, so that's first, and this chair I'll explain a little bit later. Okay, I'm using Blender 3.2 Alpha, and I'm gonna load the chair, import USD, and let's grab the chair. Okay, now we have 3D chair. So this is how it comes after the scanning. You might need, or you might want to align this. Yeah, just go to front view, side view, and you can save this. Okay, this is Blender 3.2 Alpha, so there might be a bug. This chair remix. But the idea is really just, you can quickly scan 3D objects and then bring it into Blender, and you don't need to be like a professional 3D artist. Anyone can do this. Okay, so here's the chair. If we want to take a look at the texture, okay, nice. You can now add some lighting, etc. So this is using Eevee, and take a look at the shader. So when you load the USD with material, you're gonna get this by default. And let's see. Sometimes the normal is too high. It's like this. So just reduce it. Cool. So you have this chair, and you can, you know, just duplicate it, make an array, things like that. This type of art, like random art, you can use geometry nodes for instancing. It's gonna be one thing to do, like random value vector, or just like a grid instance 1 points. So this is the chair geometry. I'm just gonna grab the chair, plug this in. Oh, it says geometry cannot be retrieved from modifier objects. Okay, so I'm using the modifier on itself, so don't do that. Just create a new cube and just assign the geometry nodes. So this chair itself probably need to be reset. I'm gonna just right click and clear the parent, keep transformations, and then Control A, apply. So we have unlimited chair, right? Just like the matrix. Okay, so that's the first thing if you want to play around with that. With the chair itself, okay, let's see. Chair, I will delete this node. This chair itself, let me explain a little bit. It's not perfect, but it's okay. It's just for art. You can paint on it. Before you paint, however, this chair is actually, if you use like smooth, you can see this is a, if you scan it and turn it into 3D, sometimes it's actually broken up into different plate. I actually quite like this. Sometimes I just solidify this. This actually turned out to be quite interesting looking, like this. It's totally up to you if you want this. If you don't want this crack chair, you go inside, go to edit mode, and then select all, and then just merge vertices by distance. Okay, and you can start paint on it. It's gonna, if you use the texture paint, you can paint whatever. Let me show you. Okay, yeah, it's a normal paint program, but Blender Paint is not perfect. It's not the most robust. I recommend you something like Procreate. Maybe just export this as USDZ and use Procreate on iPad, and then that's one way to do it. However, Blender have really powerful sculpt. So let me do some sculpting very quickly. Select the objects, go to sculpt mode, and you can start actually sculpting this. You can play around like with snake hook or things like that. Yeah, you can turn this into art. Okay, something that's more like arty. The chair itself is already quite funky, but you can modify this. You know, it's a, I don't know what's the name of this type of art. It could be like surrealism. You are bending and sculpting the 3D objects. I know it's just like, if you're like 3D artist, okay, yeah, I know this is just like sculpting program is, but it's really powerful. Blender sculpting is really powerful. Don't underestimate that. It's actually pretty fast. If it's on iPad, I think I recommend you Nomad Sculpt. There are a few things you can use, inflate and blob, things like that. What I really like, however, is like the mesh filter, inflate. There's an art that's made of car being inflated. That's one way to do it. Cloth, expand, or inflate. Yeah, I really like this effect. I don't know. I just gonna keep this anyway. So with Blender 3.2, actually, we have new tools under Sculpt, of which we can paint like using, it's kind of like a vertex coloring, but it's also different. Let me show you. Paint. Now I'm using paint, and I will try to paint on this. Oh, we can't see anything. Switch to this mode. Yeah, see, I'm actually painting. This is almost like vertex painting, but except that this is actually different. It's not just vertex paint, slightly more advanced. Maybe in the future we can paint like a PBR, like in Nomad Sculpt. So at the moment I'm painting with random color. If I right click, I can change into different color. As you just change the radius here as well. So like using random color, it's yeah, you can. It's always like relaxing to do painting in 3D, especially. And you can hold shift and you're gonna have this blurring effects. There's also a second tool, it's called smear. the smear actually give it like you can smear it like watercolor, or I don't know, just like a finger painting. You smear the color. I really like this effect, so I'm doing like a spiral motion, and yeah, it's give really interesting color combinations. The nice thing about this is actually faster than Blender owns texture painting. Okay, Blender texture painting is probably something they didn't really work on it, the developer. So for texture painting, you can use other app. I recommend you like Procreate. So the smear, okay, cool. Okay, yeah, I have random color. I really like random color like this. And then smear. So you get that. Cool. What's the next thing we can do? Oh, still under sculpt. There's also a new feature here, color filter. This is new. Color filter. You can change the color this way, like totally like crazy, doing wacky color combinations. I just duplicated, sculpt. See, I can change the color. Procreate have this feature as well. So we just created 3 different variations. So under color filter, there is okay, we can play around with this fill, hue, saturation, brightness, all the funky stuff. You know that from Photoshop. Okay, you get the idea. Sculpt. On top of that, there's also the new color masking. Mask by color, that's new. You can click and mask a color. I just mask the blue color. Now I just do the color filter. And I can actually use the cloth filter, inflate that area, just the area that's being masked. Yeah, it's really weird. So from this point, of course, okay, it's originally a 3D scan of chair and it has textures. I want to render this out now. For example, create area light, Shift T, and then point into the object you want to render. Okay, nice. Where's the color? The color is actually it's hiding under an attribute called color. You see here, vertex color, face corner, nothing. Okay, interesting. So let's go to shader. All this chair is using the same shader, but we can use the attributes color and just bring it in. So I replaced the chair color, but we want to combine it, so we use mix RGB. Just combine the color. So this is our color, this is the chair color. Just multiply. Okay, we have our chair. Now we can use it. You can use it for your animations or something. While okay, that's one way to create art. You can, you can bring this chair and just kind of instance it. I'm just gonna copy them into this one, paste, put our chair into new collections. Okay, this chair, like all these crazy chairs, just basically an instance. I'm using circular array and duplicates the circular array multiple times. I also rotate the chair. I'm just gonna zero out the rotations. For simplicity, it's gonna delete everything. We want to replace this with our crazy looking chair. This is the original chair. Bring in the collections here, plug this there. Oh wait, separate children, reset children, and plug this in. Pick the instance. Okay, still I think it's kind of working. Turn off our chair, do not render. Oh, instance index, random value. Okay, there. Right? Randomize the chair. So that's, I guess, kind of summarize what I want to show you today. It's really something simple, nothing too crazy. It's super basic as well. But anyone can create something like this using Blender. Okay, so that's the chair that I just scan. I scan it just by taking a video around the objects, and you can process it later using app. You can take photogrammetry as well using the iPhone, like using app like Scaniverse. You're gonna have less detail, but it's gonna process it on your iPhone. There's gonna be like at least 10 really good apps to do scanning in the next few years. But I think it's really powerful. Just being able to do this. I know not everyone is really confident with 3D. Not everyone is 3D artist, but 3D is gonna be so common like photography, thanks to thanks to Blender, and thanks to the ability like tools like iPad and iPhone that can do like 3D and AR in the future. Yeah, it's already able to do this in the past 2 or 3 years. But anyway, not many people knows. Only designers, architects, and 3D artists knows, but they just didn't tell you about it. Anyway, that's all I want to say today. What is considered art? I think art, it needs some kind of aesthetics, I think, but it's something that also makes you, it's kind of give you certain emotions. I don't know. So from the like wasted chair that's people throw on the street, I thought, okay, this can be like the raw materials. If you bring it into CGI, of course you can duplicate it. You can add a lot of details, and yeah. But the more, when you paint it manually, I think that's when it's becoming a little bit more magical. Or when you use like procedural shaders, and you can use AI just to texture it like crazy. But hand paint is really something. I just want to say that. Just like if you see like kids like doing painting or making something on paper, it's just like so simple and random, but you think it's kind of nice. It's childish, but it's also really nice. If you see 3D art today, it's very much kind of like fine art, fine dining, you know, like it's too good, it's too pretty. I mean, it's gentrified, but it's probably what the industry wants. But you can go crazier than that, I think. I don't know, like when Picasso did his things at the time, I think he did something that no other 3D and no other artist doing at the time, I believe. Everyone is doing realism, but I think abstract or surrealism or something that's a little bit more cartoony, and there's something that a little bit childish is also something that's worth pursuing. I don't know. Yeah, what do you think? There you go. That's a quick sharing of how I created this using Blender, and iPhone and things like that. All right. So thanks again for tuning in. I'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye.